Gang-a-ling. Gang-a-ling.
Sunday, and happy Father's Day to the dads out there.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to all the dope daddies.
Father's Day, Dad. He's not gonna see this,
Hope you
but
guys are enjoying your special day.
yes. And for anyone who's early celebrating Juneteenth, happy Juneteenth to us all.
Happy Juneteenth. It's also Pride Month, which is ending soon. So it's a lot of things to celebrate in June.
Like, we celebrating life. We celebrating life.
It's also Black Music Month. There's a lot going on in June. June's a fire month. So I'm happy that our final episode is the perfect weekend.
It literally, y'all, this is episode 16. Last episode of season 1 of Hear Us Out. Y'all been hearing us out. We've been hearing y'all out with these votes. Speaking of. So y'all voted.
And y'all voted.
We heard. And so today's episode, we're going to be talking about crafting a rollout. Got the tea, got that tea.
So that's always going to be, I feel like, a popular one because it's like, it's just so, it's evergreen.
I like that. Evergreen. Okay.
Evergreen topic.
Kick us off. What we like, how are we getting into this?
All right, y'all. So like, first things first, we can kind of just get into like, as we always do, just basic definition. Because, you know, people here tuning in are in different points of the spectrum with it. So what exactly is a rollout? Why is it important? So I feel like we've heard this term probably so many times and increasingly more these days than we have in the past like 5, 10, 15, 20 years, because fans are even now like more engaged. Like I'll see on Twitter fans being like, they didn't even have a rollout for this album. I'm like, damn, what you know about
it? What you know about it?
And they'll be criticizing it like they should have done this. They'll be having ideas. I'm just like, okay, y'all need to get on the team because
shoot them email, shoot that shot, baby.
But I like to call like a rollout basically like a road or like a road map to anything that the artist or any type of creator is going to be releasing with the music. And it's about like building that anticipation, like showing the different types of themes related or imagery or whatever else to kind of show you like, okay, like this song is coming or this video is coming or this performance is coming or whatever else. So it's a really just cool way to kind of get people excited about what's actually being released. Why do rollouts matter? Because that is how you activate your present fan base, but that's also how you can gain new fans, because sometimes people will see a billboard or they'll see an ad or they'll see a trailer and be like, whoa, like, what's this? This is interesting. And they might not even be familiar with whoever the artist or creator is, but it's going to be exciting because it catches their eye. So it's a great way, obviously, to get the current fans excited, but also the new ones too.
I love it. And to be fair too, like, honestly, one of the biggest things that I will say when it comes to this episode is like, start paying attention. Lottie talked about and mentioned how, you know, some fans will be like, oh, where was the rollout for this? Start paying attention to when you see something that you like. What did you like about it? When you see something, for example, TV film example, and then I can give a music example too, but everybody was going crazy over the Barbie rollout, Margot Robbie's and Lucky Chap Entertainment, which is her production company's latest movie. And everybody was going crazy over the Barbie rollout. Everybody was talking about Barbie. Everybody had the Barbie filter on their social media. All of that was a part of the rollout that the team, the network, everybody, the studio rather, everybody involved had some form of saying, okay, how are we about to get the world excited about what's to come? And it worked. People were going crazy over that. So when you see something that works as a creative and as an artist, pay attention to that. Take note on the responses, take note on, you know, all of that, because that helps you to be able to start crafting yours too. But that's my biggest, I want to start our conversation out by just saying, start paying attention now, you know, start paying attention to what you see, what you liked, why did you like stuff about it? And keep that in mind when you're starting to do your own and figuring out how you want to do your own thing too.
Yeah, I love that. And it's funny because people always talk about, I think one of the biggest things I hear from artists is like, oh, I can't think of anything, which one is BS because you're an artist, like you literally create. So yes, you can, one. Two, it doesn't even necessarily need to be anything inventive or original, right? It's like whatever, think of whatever catches your attention throughout the day and think of how you respond to that. And that's how you know if something's being executed well or not. Like
And
you
to be
don't need
fair,
to be a rocket scientist.
and you don't, and to be fair, I think one of the things that people don't realize too is like, if you have any type of response, negative or positive, pay attention to it. If you have a super negative response, but you still go and pull up to listen to the album, to look at the video, to watch the movie, or to watch the TV show, it still worked. It still worked because it didn't turn you off to it. You may not have liked, oh, I don't like how they talking about this in the media, or I don't like how they talking about that. To Lottie's point, you could think of something. And even not all publicity, or what do they say? Bad publicity is good publicity too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying craft a bad rollout, but I am saying pay attention to the stuff that you like, and you don't, whatever you have a response to, it doesn't matter how the response is, pay attention to that because it's important to know when you're starting to think about your own. But the first step is, like Lottie said, we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. If you see that things work, you can innovate and add your own sauce and your own flavor to it for sure, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time, you know? I love it. Big purr.
Okay. And so, and the other thing that's important to understand about rollouts, I feel like a lot of people are everyone's familiar, I feel, with like the pre-release rollout, right? So all the things that you do to build up to the actual thing that comes out. And then for some reason, once the thing is out, it's like, it's quiet. And I'm just like,
it don't stop there.
You can keep going. Like,
correct.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but the rollout doesn't end once the thing releases.
It does not.
Like, post-release,
Talk about that. Did he?
A lot of the times, bruh, and Diddy someone to pay attention to too, because do you remember when he was rolling out the Bryson Tiller song that wasn't even supposed to come out in the first place? When I tell you, I'm like, bruh, it's been 3 months, he's still talking about this song. Like, and mind you, Diddy's like 50 or something. So it's like a lot of y'all are not that old. Like, if a 50-year-old man can be posting on social media every day about, like, come on.
Pay attention.
What excuse do y'all got? Like,
and that's a really good one too. I'm glad that you said, because that goes into the consistency part, right? When it comes to that rollout, like, I think because the word roll out literally means when it's coming out, like it's talking about that people feel like you're supposed to just stop once it comes out.
I think it's like rolling out the red carpet. It's like, okay,
it's out now. No, you have to keep going. You have to keep rolling that out until you get to whatever.
And you can roll it out forever.
Right. It's about your milestone. Hold on, let's back up. Let's start there. When it comes to the crafting of it, what are your goals as an artist, as a team, as a creative, however you identify? What are the goals that you're hoping that this project will help you to reach? The rollout doesn't stop until you reach those goals. So even if it came out, that doesn't mean you can't still reach those goals. You feel me? If your song came out and it dropped and you want that thing to go platinum, you have to keep going. You have to keep going. You never know who you're going to reach. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like that's one of the biggest things when it comes to the rollout is like, number one, set those goals, set those milestones, set those, whatever it is that you're trying to reach, and then be consistent in it. It doesn't just stop the day that the song comes out. And if you reach those goals, there's no limits. Go outside and look up. It's the sky all the way up. We up. So even if you surpass whatever your expectations were of it, keep going. If that's what you want, if you want the impact, whatever it is that you're trying to do, you feel me? So like, I think that's a big, big word. I like the consistency in that. I love that you said that. Like Diddy is still doing it. Age don't matter. You know what I'm saying? He been in the game
forever. Really don't.
And
also here's the thing too, right? Like people always talk about how it's 120,000 songs released a day and that number goes up every 3 or 4 months. But it's just like, and I hate to say like competition, but just by default, there's just so much content being released, whether it's actual music or videos on TikTok or this, that, and the third. So it's like, you can't afford to just be like, okay, I'm gonna just post an IG story, which pisses me off, by the way. Because like, the way the algorithm is set up, ain't nobody seeing that. Like,
I think that's a good point too to make, because I feel like when it comes to the rollout too, and my heart is for those people. I'm one of those creatives too. That's like, it's when I have so many things on my plate, the social media part, I get it. It's a lot. You got to do the thing. You got to create the thing. You got to make the thing, got to do all those things. And then you got to come and then you got to promote the thing, promote the thing, promote the thing. You got to be present on socials. You got to go to all the events and all those different things. That's all a part of it too. I think the biggest thing when it comes to that and that consistency is just finding that steady pace. You are responsible for how this goes. You feel me? So if you're a creative who needs to take it step by step, that's even more the reason, to Lottie's point, why the rollout don't gotta stop. You feel me? Like if you need more time to really get into it, then you about to have gradually keep rolling that thing out. But as long as you're consistently talking about it, keep building that up, solid. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's a big word, a big word. And that leads us to timing is everything. And it goes into that, like on that same note, it's like how you time out everything is super important. I think there are a lot of different, what do we call those? Like, not roadmaps, benchmarks, I guess, or dang, I can't think of the word right now.
Milestones, something like that.
Yeah, on the path, the little dot, the pins.
Right.
Pins
I don't know.
Here we go. Goalposts, whatever. I don't know.
English is hard sometimes. Listen.
Like, timing is everything. You feel me? Like, when you're really thinking about when a project is going to come out, all of it, like the timing, when it works, it changes the trajectory of how well a project can do, right? So, we often see, we see this across the board too. It's not necessarily specific to just music and TV and film, but we see it in a lot of different ways, right? I think that there's a lot of, especially in the US, we have holidays, we have events, we have things every single month of the year. All 12 months of the year, there's something. So there's always something that you can use as a benchmark to help you lead up to something else. You feel me?
Very
if
much
the
that.
Project is in alignment with something that's going on a cultural level. That gives you that roadmap to be like, all right, I want to do it around this date so that everybody is feeling the message of this. You feel me? I want to do it around
it's
this.
Like, if you're going to drop a love song, Valentine's Day is
Hello.
a great way to do it. Halloween might not be the best date because that don't really coincide. So it's just stuff like that, right?
Small, you feel me? Like the timing of everything is key. You dropping, to be honest, you dropping a love song, you dropping, you want to drop your freaking short film that's about new beginnings. Top of the year is when people are really feeling fresh.
Or maybe like it's springtime, it's like
maybe when it's the flowers is finna bloom. You feel like the timing of it, there's so much. The timing helps, to your point though, Lottie, earlier too, when you're like all the creatives being like, yo, I can't think of anything. If you give yourself a timeline to back into, I want to drop this around Mother's Day for the mamas. I want to drop this around whatever day, That helps you to start coming up with those creative ideas around, okay, boom. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Barbie is a summer vibe. We finna drop it right when the summertime's out, when the girlies are out, the sun is out, buns out. You get me? So think about that part too.
That makes it. But honestly, the most important thing to realize is that be prepared, but don't overthink, because overthinking is a way to stall any sort of progress that you're trying to make. It's like, and also at the end of the day, rollouts keep going. So even if you didn't like the way things might have started out, that's not the end of it. You can always reiterate and change things along the way. You can always make adjustments. And the best time to, sometimes revive things is like on like anniversaries or something. It could be a month anniversary. Be like, hey, it's been a month since this thing dropped. I got a behind the scenes thing for y'all to show you how I made the beat. That type of stuff, and it's even so cool when one thing I really love to see is when like, with the artist, it's like, it's their song, it's their video, whatever. But when the producer is going to be like, yo, I'm going to do a TikTok showing y'all how I made the beat. That's part of the rollout, even though if it's not directly from the artist, right? Because like at the end of the day, especially with TV, film, music, it's collaborative effort. So if anybody who is a part of creating that particular project is like, let me show you how I contributed to this and did my part, that's part of the rollout. And it doesn't all have to happen like the same day or the same week that the thing comes out. It's like, it's ongoing. Because the other day, I was on Twitter, there's one producer who I follow who I really love. He's out in LA, Hollywood Cole. He had worked on Jack Harlow's last album, and he was just like, this is how I made the beat for this song. I said, let me run that album back because it's like I have now a newfound appreciation for what went into making this, and of course a reminder to play this, because even though it hasn't been that long, still, you know, things are released every day, every week, but it's like to see something like that, a content piece. I don't know if they had collaborated to like plan that out or whatever, but I was like, let me go run this album back one more game because
truly.
I saw that.
No, truly. And that goes into the point earlier too. It's like, look, we get it. There's a lot that has to happen as a creative and as an artist and all of that. And if you don't have a team, you got a lot of work on your plate, especially when you got a project coming out. You can afford to pace yourself. Pacing yourself will actually help you reach a larger audience too. When you really think about it, everybody's not always on social media at the same time. So if you if you craft your rollout in a way, it's like, I want to hit them with something different about the process of this every week or every other week or whatever it is, you don't have to drop everything on the first day, because then what you gonna do? You gave everything. But if you have an obscene amount of content of the process of how to create something or do something, and you can just take your time and have a gradual progression of, yo, it's out, yo, and then there was this, did you know we did this? And also, by the way, I had this person too. Here's some hiccups that we had discovered along the way, but here's how we finessed through it. The song was supposed to go like this, but it ended up going like this. The shot was supposed to be like this, but we ended up doing, there's so much that get people involved into it. And to Lottie's point, where they be like, oh, dang, wait, now I got to go re-listen to the song. Like, oh, wait, I love an artist that I love. I mean, I'm sure we all do, but Kendrick Lamar, for me, every time I learn something new, I'm like, I got to go listen to the whole thing all over again. And that works. Like every single time, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I thought it was about this. It was about that. All right, well, you didn't tell me a week later. Now I got to run the whole album again next week. Y'all gonna be tired of me, but it's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like how you can be really getting people excited. To Lottie's point, it doesn't take a lot. You know what I mean? It could be the smallest of things, like letting people in on the process. Everybody wants to know you're the greatest. You're the greatest at what you do. People want to know how you did it. You feel me? Share all your gems, but people want to know how you did it. So food for thought, food for.
And the other thing I want to say too, it's like, especially for folks who are still coming up, it's like, you know, you'll see people with budgets that have PR and stuff doing like this interview and that podcast and this, that, and a third. And it's like, you might not have those resources available to you because you got to be your own publicist.
You got to be on everything.
But listen, it's like, you can reach out to some folks. Like, I've been seeing Ebro. I have plenty of friends that have been featured on his. I'm like, okay. Y'all got to, I mean, he's a big dog over at Apple. So say, don't think that you can't send your own little press kit, EPK.
What do we say? Like, what's the Hero Cell motto? Shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot, because if the song, especially if you gain a little traction by yourself, but that's a story. People like to say that. You know what's actually interesting? And I don't know if this is intentional. There's this one rapper named Foggy Raw who I really, really like. And he had used Alicia Keys' song, like sample in her song. That was the rollout. Y'all, can you tell Alicia to clear this? Bro, we were all behind him because that song was so fire and the video was so fire. I was like, nah, I was like, Alicia.
Everybody on Twitter, everybody everywhere went crazy.
And that was over the course of months. And then next thing you know, he dropped a video like just this past week. Who was in the video?
Come on. Come on.
So I was like, that's the rollout.
Twitter helps with that rollout.
But thing been teased. It's been months at this point, but it's like that new level.
And we're back, and the bop is still bopping, and we're still listening.
Hello.
And we're re-excited all over again because
so
it never
like
to the Diddy point. It doesn't get old. It only gets old if you allow for it to get old. It only gets bookshelved if you allow for it. It only collects dust if you allow. For it. You feel me? Obviously, you know, like we saying, bandwidth is a thing, but account for that. Account for that in your plan. If you know, okay, look, I have X amount of time. I'm an independent artist. Maybe I'm still working to support myself. I can only have this amount of time. Everything needs to be a part of that planning, and everything is content as it pertains to that. You feel me? Like
everything is. I know y'all.
Like I said, the process, what went wrong, what went right. That moment where you realize it's a hit. Nipsey Hussle. Okay. On the Victory Lap album, Nipsey and Diddy had a track together. And one of my favorite moments that happened after the album came out, they released video footage of them two in the studio with the team. And it was the moment when they realized they had a hit. Everybody wants to see that moment. When you're in the studio and you're like, this is the one. Nah, this is the one. And what did it do? It got everybody re-excited. Like, oh yeah, that is a hit. Let me go back and listen to it again so I can get excited with y'all again. Like, though, everything is content. Everything counts. Everything counts because you're only you. You're the only person that's you. So people want to know what you got, what you come in with. You got fans out there. Even if you only got one of them, you're the only you, right? We want to hear from you.
And you're going to get more fans.
And you're going to get more fans. I
don't think people realize that. It's like I don't think I've seen anyone like have a negative, unless you really mess something up.
Well, I can give
as time goes on, right? It's like
you're not gonna get those
you're acquiring more fans. So the more times you promote something and talk about something, the more opportunities you have for people to find out about you and to celebrate whatever it is that you're working on.
Period. For sure. For sure. So don't underestimate it. Like, if you feeling like I don't got the money, I can't do the press tour, you can create some magic. You can create.
I don't want to hear nothing about having the money.
I don't know what to do. I can't think of it.
There's too many things that are damn near free.
Show your process, show why you do what you do. You feel me? Show what the inspiration was behind the song, behind the show, the whatever, show the all of it. Like, there are ways.
It doesn't have to be crazy. You could just talk to the camera and be like, let me tell you how, like, it doesn't have to be ultra edited with this.
Are we gonna act like Beyonce didn't drop a whole dang on short of her own personal footage of just being Beyonce?
Listen,
on her laptop. You can see her on the laptop. Like,
definitely need to be doing BTS. That's all I gotta say.
Like, come on. We want to know. So you got this. We got this for sure. For sure. Yeah. And on top of that too, like, I feel like that goes into helping to get your fans and your audience more involved, more engaged too, because it's like, once they know, like, oh, you putting in the work, you grinding, you're gonna get some loyal people just off the strength, just off the consistency. You feel me? So keep that in mind. Like, I think because, we're starting, like we talked about, we see all this different content and there's so much, and it's so easy to compare yourself to the next content creator or artist or however you identify. But it's like, just do you. Just put those blinders on and do you. Take note of what works, take note of what doesn't, and continue to innovate. But you don't have to like try and do this big, grandy. Things will evolve and get better over time. If you just continue
heavy on evolution, right? Because I think a lot of times people are like, I don't have the budget to do the things I want to do.
Start.
Okay, then you don't need to do those things right now. Like, whatever you can afford currently, whatever you have the capacity for currently, do that. Because also part of the story is you start somewhere where, again, I feel like we bring up Issa Rae every episode, my God.
Because that's my... Come on now.
But look at Awkward Black Girl on YouTube versus Insecure on HBO. It's like night and day.
It's night and day, baby.
About a budget? Or lack thereof? Like,
and maybe you haven't seen it, so we're gonna
the lighting to the makeup to the come on.
Go look up Awkward Black Girl on YouTube, and then you ain't even gotta watch a full episode of Insecure if you ain't seen it. Just go watch the trailer. Okay, Amazon got it for you, a trailer. HBO Max.
Again, if you want to talk about change in budget,
just start with what you have. Everything you have right now is enough, because if you needed more, you would have it right now. I'm not saying
that's what gets you to the next level.
Deserve more.
You're not going to get to the next level if you don't do.
But you have to know. You got to know how to make something out of nothing. You do. You just have to start. It doesn't have to be. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be freaking grandiose production the first time you do your first, like, it doesn't have.
And you want to know the funny thing about it? It's a lot of people that do spend tens to hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars on something, and it don't even go nowhere.
The return of investment, that money could have been toward better studio equipment. That money could have went toward, savings so that you can actually quit your job. That's all type of stuff. You feel me? You gotta have to, you have to really be honest with yourself and accept where you are in your process. And your journey is your journey. So don't compare your rollout. Don't compare your nothing to nobody else. Y'all may be on the same path, a similar path, whatever, but y'all are wearing two different shoes, bruh. So just keep focusing on your steps and your process, and you'll get there. It doesn't have to be the craziest thing you've ever seen in the world. I'm not expecting Barbie level of a rollout from a person who doesn't have a full stack team. Margot Robbie has a team, a production company, and then a whole studio on top of the fact that she's Margot Robbie. I'm not expecting a Barbie level rollout from a person who's just starting and getting it going and is funding it themselves. You can't, that's not fair. That's not a fair expectation to set for yourself as the artist or the creative or the team member. You just got to be cool. You have to accept where you are and accept what you got. You got this innovation in your mind and you got your creativity because you're the only one with it. So let's make some magic from it. All right, y'all. I know the rollout gets to be that point where you start overthinking to the point of doing nothing. We don't want that for you.
We don't want that for you.
We want to see you. We want to see you make the magic. We want to see you get people excited. And just because people may not be engaging in the way that you think doesn't mean that you won't get the results that you want. I feel like that is important to consider throughout the entire process of the rollout too, is like, people may not be commenting and blowing up the likes and stuff, but that doesn't mean they're not listening. And that doesn't mean that they're not looking. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that they're not watching. They might actually still be watching. They just may not be engaging because people are.
And again, it's like, this stuff is forever. Like once it's on the internet, it's out there. There's always a time. There's always a time. I just think about, running up that hill, how that song is like, I think 30 years old or something like that. And how it got featured in Stranger Things. And it was a trending TikTok sound. I was like, bruh, when she had released that song.
Those are the moments.
There's no way she was like, yeah, in 30 years, this is going to be featured on
the biggest shows in history.
And then it's going to no. Kate Bush didn't know that was going to happen. So that's the other thing too. Like if you're someone who really thinks that what you're creating is timeless, you got to be okay with the fact that it might take a little
time. Timeless may take time, baby. It may, and you may, and look, let's be real, Jean-Michel Basquiat, you may not fully live to see it either. And you gotta be okay with that too, as a creative. I think a lot of times our work precedes us. It just is, that's just a part of it. Sometimes you're ahead of your time. Woo, you're ahead of your time too. So they may not be responding now.
Maybe it's like whatever you're creating now is going to influence like the next generation of folks that you have
no idea. So just keep going.
Oh.
What are some more examples too? Like,
listen, you want to know who you probably already know who I think is like rollout king. He look quiet right now, but Lil Nas, bro. When Lil Nas is rolling out Montero, I kid you not, that was was that not a 6-month rollout? Pretty sure that was just
and
just when you thought he was done, he was like, "And I got something else for you." I'm just
rollout game is on lock for sure. I agree with that.
I think that's probably the greatest rollout that we've ever seen for Gen Z in music.
And this,
I don't think anything has topped that.
No, for sure. And this is another good example where it's like, because I know a lot of people are like, I don't listen to him. You don't have to listen to. This is what I mean when I say, pay attention to the response. Just because you don't listen to an artist or you don't watch an artist, you don't like sci-fi,
that's not even
you don't like reality. That's not the point.
He could not be
learning how to do.
If you were anywhere on the internet, he could not be escaped.
You couldn't have missed it, and that means it worked because you saw it, even when you didn't want to see it, even when you weren't looking for it. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about put it out there because you have no idea whose taste you are. You feel me? Like you're your taste. You rock with your own taste and all of that, but you have no idea who's gonna really be receptive to your taste. You have to just put it out there. It may not be the people that you're around right now either. It may be some people that you didn't even expect. You feel me? But like it don't matter if you listen to Lil Nas X or not. Everywhere. Anytime, that's the one thing you're right on that. Anytime there's some new music coming, you can't not see him. He's everywhere. It's crazy. It's beautiful. It truly is. Got it on lock for sure. That's
and and mind you, this is someone who he signed to Columbia. He has a budget, whatever, but he still puts in that work personally. I think that's something to realize too. No matter how much money this, that, and the third, a lot of times the content that resonates the most within a rollout is what comes from the artist. So don't think, once I get a team, I won't have to do nothing. Nah.
I have a mentor / older sis, Leslie Rosales. She's the head of marketing for Rostrum Records. and she came on to a podcast that we did, not this podcast situation, last month or 2 months ago or whatever. And she was talking about a rollout that she helped facilitate for Danny Lee. I feel like I talked about this on
Danny Lee, yeah. What song was it?
On another, I can't remember what song it was for. We can recap that.
Yeah.
But one of the pieces of it, like gems that she dropped when we were talking, was like, she was like, look, I noticed that Danny not only was a dope singer, all of that, and had a lot of potential, girl can dance her ass off.
Yeah, she started out.
Even though she's with us right now, focused on music that's not dancing, we're gonna incorporate dancing in this rollout. Because why not showcase another side of her that she is also equally passionate about, and she would love to continue to be a part of her artistry going forward. It worked. They did a whole dance. It went viral. It was crazy. It was like doing a little dance thing, and half the world was like, oh my God, Danny's doing this dance too. But it was like, nah, she's actually setting the tone. She's actually setting the tone. And now there's all of these dance things that's going on and going viral and all this different stuff. But the point is that, like, when you're getting innovative and thinking outside of the box, don't be afraid to tap into your other skill sets that you have too. You feel me? Like, that is also something that you can be utilizing to leverage.
A really great point.
You know what I'm saying? Like me, for example, we've talked about it, Waconomy. Shout out to Waconomy. You feel me? At that company, that's a tech company. However, anytime we have something new, I'm getting my acting back for it. Why? Because I was trained to do that. That's what I know that I can do that, and everybody else does commercials. So why we can't just do our own commercial? You feel me? Get innovative. Tap into your other talents, your other skill sets that you have that people should know, and that it may help the messaging. It may align with whatever message you're trying to get across, whatever it is that you're doing. Don't be afraid to tap into those other talents too. When you're thinking, well, I can't, I'm a rapper. I don't want to you never know. You feel me? You never know. You never know.
That reminds me of that one time when Offset was performing, I think it was the BET Awards, and he incorporated some choreo, and everybody was shocked.
I remember that. Yes.
He actually he's been dancing since he was like a child. And I was like, bruh, if he would just do this like all the time.
All the time?
A lot of these other rappers would have to step it up.
Who said you have to be one thing? Who said? Just because that's what your bread and butter is doesn't mean, that's how you keep getting.
And a lot of creators are multifaceted, so it's very rare that it's just one thing anyway.
It's rare that it's one thing. I don't know a single creator that.
Remember when J. Cole was out here producing a lot of his own stuff? Russ be out here producing a lot. Doja Cat, a lot of these. Chloe Bailey, like, it's just, and that all gets tied in because then the fans are like, oh, I didn't know you could do all that, or the skill set or whatever.
You feel me? Needless to say, do we need to give Rihanna as an example at this point now? She didn't listen. Everything is together. I don't even know.
Listen,
you get me?
She'll tease like new makeup and new whatever and everything.
Or even Beyonce. I love when wow, yeah, actually, yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, you're right. There's a lot of different ways that you can be leveraging if you're a creative entrepreneur.
Because even with Rihanna, she didn't have new
other businesses into your rollout. You rolling out your fashion and your music at the same time in the same.
Yeah.
Come on,
yeah, like Fenty Beauty sales like skyrocketed after the Super Bowl because they were ready.
Well,
they
as
were
they
playing.
But yeah,
everything
was coordinated. You feel me? Like, don't be afraid to tap into your other skill sets when it comes to this. I think that's a big word. And so we gave y'all Lil Nas. We talked a little bit about Rihanna. We talked a little bit about Beyonce. We gave you the Barbie example, which is a really good one. And we can stop for a second and really hone in on the levels in which Barbie really did I'm talking, we had the social media.
That whole generator, like Barbie.
The generator where you had the Barbie.
That was my favorite thing.
I'm talking generationally. I had my mind.
And I saw that mentioned on Twitter. They were talking about on Instagram, on LinkedIn.
Facebook. It was everywhere.
They could not get enough of it.
You feel me? So that they had a whole social media campaign that we all love a filter. We know it. Everybody loves the cool little, and then they also had in all of their different actual premiere events and things like that, the activations that were on site, there were so many dope photo ops. There were so many different opportunities, not to mention, let's really talk about how Barbie as a brand in general, having a brand like that behind you, obviously, like we said, this is a big money one. So yes, they supported with a lot. It was Barbie. But like, even just the opportunity to show a lot of younger girls, you feel me? Younger kids, not even girls, just kids in general. Like, yo, there's so much representation in this movie. And we're showcase that all across the board. I mean, it was great. Like, just seeing everywhere. You couldn't go to Target. Everywhere Barbie was front and center, as it always is, but it was really intentional. You feel me? Like, there's so many different layers to how they thought out, like, okay, we know we're gonna have Margot do this. We know we got Issa was there. Issa's involved in this too. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different things. They made a point to make it feel like everybody had a place in this. And we saw, well, if you've seen it, then you've seen it. I ain't gonna talk more about it, but yeah, go see it if you haven't seen it. But very good example of it. I'm trying
and just also, like, when people, you know, pink being like that specific shade of pink being a Barbie color, so many people are like, in my outfit, ready to see Barbie. It's like, it was a whole event.
Hashtags were crazy. Like, it was an event. It was an event. It reminded me of like when Black Panther first came out. That was an event too. Everyone was like,
and even like with Little Mermaid too, like, you know, that being a big moment, like the amount of little girls like dressed up like
the faux locks, the red faux locks.
I remember when Offset had took his daughters to the premiere and they were all dressed. I was like, this is so cute.
The moments.
It's so cute.
You know what I mean? The ways that people can feel a part of it. Yeah. What are the ways that people can actually feel a part of the experience in addition to actually experiencing it? This is all that people were feeling a part of before they didn't even see the movie. They could have went to the movie and been like, this is, but we wouldn't have known because the rollout, no one saw, this was all before they even saw the movie. Like, crazy. The hype, crazy, right? Shout out to Jermaine Fowler and X Mayo, the homie. Shout out to them for the blackening. Okay, another fire.
Blackening, baby.
Fire.
And again, you want to talk about timing?
Juneteenth.
Black Music Month, Juneteenth. Like, come on, like.
Black Music
Month. So I don't know if y'all know, there's this really dope social media app called Spill, which is a Black-owned app, and they partnered with Spill to further promote. So any of like the paid advertising you see on that app is the blackening. And it's just like so great because I'm just like, how brilliant for a movie like this to partner with a Black-owned app that understands the culture. And that I was just like,
they were very from the beginning of the process of this movie being made, the intentionality through and through. You feel me? Like just the process. One of my favorite things about it, especially now that the movie is, please go see it. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. Take your fam. It's funny. It's great. It's awesome. It's great. But one of the things that is really cool about it is that they're showing, they had a premiere in New York last week. Yeah, like Tuesday or Wednesday at the Apollo Theater. Like everything about this is just really good. But one of the cool parts about it that we're seeing right now on social media too is like a lot of the different actors that are involved in it are showing like BTS of the process for them and why it was important to them that they're doing it, you know, why it was important to them that this movie is coming out right now at the time that it is, and the importance of seeing Black faces, Black bodies in a horror comedy and all of it, just all of the groundbreaking nature of it is super dope. And it's inclusive in a way that people want to see, you know, people are excited about it and they're constantly talking about it. There've been they've done the press, again, these are higher level examples, there's money involved and all of that, but the press for it, you feel me? They've had them speaking. Anyone who's in LA and went to CultureCon, they had a whole panel at CultureCon for it. They've had panels for it at the other conferences too. Like they're really making sure that the culture comes out to see something that is big, like an all Black cast, Black director.
They're tapped in.
75 plus people in production that are all like in horror. That's not something like, we're seeing it, obviously, shout out to Jordan Peele and all of that. Like we're seeing some stuff, but this is a different level. You feel me? So like really dope, really dope. really good. That's another good example of a really fire rollout. I'm trying to think of.
Also, Into the Spider-Verse, right? Like that was really cool. The way Metro Boomin was rolling out, like, okay, these are the different artists that are a part of this, like the cartoon version of everybody. I was like, I love this. That was cute. I really, really like that.
Start paying attention to this stuff, y'all. Just start paying attention. Just start looking at it, like seeing how people are responding to things, and you'll really be like, oh shoot, you know. I think because we're in a social media era and people just make content all the time. I think sometimes I'd be wondering, like, do people realize this is like targeted and specific, or do they think this is just another social media thing that's happening? But like, you have to pay attention to the timing of things when you're really, you know, looking at the artists and the people that inspire you. Like, pay attention to how things are being done, and you'll learn a lot. For all of you that may be out there and you're like, I'm really struggling with how I want to get this out, step back, take a second, and just think about what you want. What do you want people to feel about it? What do you want people to learn from it? What do you want people to know about the experience? Like, how do you want that to be curated? And that could be a starting point for you to figure out, okay, timeline wise, what works? How can I be consistent? How can I build a schedule that's consistent? All of that good stuff. That was
I like those questions, because once you know what you want the result to be from having that content created, then that you could work back up from there, being, okay, this is the content that's going to evoke these different types of responses.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, y'all. Vibes. Do we have any? Wait, hold on. Let me check. I'm not checking the chat. Sorry, y'all. Hey, friends.
No, I'm checking. We don't seem to have any questions just yet.
I hope y'all are taking it all in. Y'all know us. We come for the gyms every Sunday. Do we have, I feel like we gave some really good, some really good examples and some thoughts for y'all to really sit on. Yeah. Do you have anything else, my girl Lottie, for episode 16?
I just wanted to kind of mention a couple of indie artists that I think folks should pay attention to, because I really like the way they roll out content. So TK, who it's a plug because I manage him, but I really want to
plug your artists.
He had a project which has been rolled out in the Web3 space and now into the traditional music space called Eternal Garden, and the rollout for that was just epic. Like we hit all the points. He had some press. We were doing the social media stuff. We were doing Twitter Spaces. We were having TikTok challenges. It was all these things. So, and it was work.
It is work.
But
it's a lot of work.
We had, custom graphics. It was a whole thing. But check him out and see what he did with the Eternal Garden. It was really awesome. Beyond that, Pat Jr. is great. He's an independent artist. He's a rapper, and he's always doing the BTS, the lyric videos, all that stuff. I really feel like at the bare minimum, please do a lyric video. That don't even got to be that crazy. Like, if you want it to be crazy, it can be crazy. But a lot of times you can just, especially with the rise of AI, you can get some AI generator type thing, put the words on top of it, and that's the lyric video. Sync it to the music. That's it. It's like, you don't have to do nothing crazy. But he does.
And people love that too. That's a good point. Pat does do a really good job at that. I second that for sure. Y'all make sure.
I love his, and he sits down, he edits those videos, he does his own thing. I remember when he got the backdrops to make the content. So it's like, you got to commit to that stuff. You know what I mean? Also, CXR is great, just kind of like their whole roster. Dende is awesome. Chris Patrick is awesome. Byrie is awesome. I love all the stuff that they create. So they're folks to pay attention to. And this is the cool thing about like collectives is that there's a lot going on. And so even if you're not necessarily paying attention to that one artist, there's someone else in the collective doing it. And that's why Odd Future, like,
hello.
Because it's a group effort, and people tie into that really strongly. The same thing with like Brockhampton and all those guys. So.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Just remember, y'all, it is definitely a lot of work, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel for every single thing. Okay. Like, I know we're artists and everybody's like, I want to be original and all of that, but you also have to be realistic with circumstances, the most.
And also, it's like originality doesn't really have to be expensive. I find that people with the smallest budgets are the most resourceful, because like you just got to figure it out. You got to make something cool and interesting.
Have to make it happen. Make a way out of no way. every time. I'm excited. I'm excited to see some more rollouts. You feel me? I'm excited. I'll be paying attention.
Yeah, it's only June, so it's like they're literally
God, it's
it's
literally
6
only June.
months left in the year.
We're only halfway there. Okay.
We're only halfway there. We're only halfway there.
Time.
Well, there's a lot that can happen. There's a lot that you can change your whole life in 6 months.
Listen.
You can change. Listen, and this is a little bit of a segue, but so there's this artist in the UK. Her name is Ray. It's all caps Raye. And I'm not saying this is a rollout, but when she was having issues with her label, I think it was Polydor she was signed to. She went to Twitter and was just like, "Yo, I've been signed to this label for 7 years. They won't let me release my debut." And 6 months later, she had been with a whole different. She's a human resources now. Her debut album was out. I think it was #1. She had a #1 song in the UK. She had her first Billboard charting song. So when I tell you 6 months, everything could change. 6 months, everything could change, and the internet can really help with that. So, and again, I'm not saying talking about her woes as part of the rollout, but it in a lot of ways played into it because a lot of what the project is talking about is kind of her finding her independence and this whole thing. So it's just a lot can change in 6 months.
And don't be
the rollout for her album was really good. So
see. And sometimes just putting your stuff out there, I feel like too, that's part of why we're saying, like, if you don't have, the $1 million budget or whatever, that's a lot of money. But if you don't have whatever you need, like to make a crazy, like next level rollout, working with what you have could probably align you with the people that will be able to help you, build out your team. You feel me? Just to see the consistency, to see your process. You never know who could see that and be like, yo, I rock with this, like making it happen. You feel me? And then now you got the team of people that's going to pull up on you, just like this example, and be like, nah. Let's figure some stuff out. How can we make it shake? So just keep putting your stuff out there, y'all. That's the best, and to the best of your ability. I know it's a lot, and what we're talking about is a lot of work, but
listen, at the end of the day, if you're an independent artist or an independent filmmaker or some sort of other entrepreneur, you already know it wasn't going to be easy. So it being a lot of work is without, that's without saying. And a lot of these things might not necessarily come natural. So not everybody's great at, making short form content, facing the camera with TikTok. Not everybody's great at editing.
Again, Lottie.
There's a lot of things that you might not be good at, but it's like, whatever you can do, figure it out. Whatever you can't do, see if you can partner with people. I'm a big fan of bartering and whatnot. It's like, see, you could tap in with to make something shake. It doesn't always have to be monetary. But at the end of the day, it's like, this is your baby, this is your business, and you have to invest whatever time or money to make it shake. And it's not going to be overnight, and that's okay.
And that's okay. It's going to take time. Remember, timeless takes time. Okay. We love y'all.
We love y'all.
Wow, Bittersweet season 1. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Oh my God, the last episode.
Season 1.
Oh my God, you guys.
Y'all make sure you're following us on AMP.
Seriously, okay. And also make sure you're tapped in with us on Laylo, because that's where we're going to have the first updates on
link is in our bios.
Happening. Anytime there's any like big announcements, changes, etc. So if you are not tapped in with us already there, make sure you are. The Twitch channel is gonna be a wee bit inactive while we're on Brizake, but that don't mean that YouTube and Twitter and all the other places are gonna be dormant. So make sure you're tapped in on all of our channels. Just drop the link tree in the chat. Everything is at Hey Hear Us Out. So when in doubt, Hey Hear Us Out.
Hey, I was about to do it too. Hey, when in doubt, Hey Hear Us Out. All right, y'all. Until next time, stay tuned for those updates. Make sure y'all tap into our Laylo. All right. If you can't see the chat later, however that works, it's in our Twitter, Instagram.
It's Hey Hear Us Out everywhere. By now, yeah, y'all know the drill. Everywhere. YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, everywhere.
All right, y'all. Until next time. Bye.